For the newer speakers and consultants, or even the more seasoned listeners that we have here today with us, or those listening to the recording later, I anticipate you'll relate when I share that for the many years I've been working with speakers and consultants, one of the common pain points or challenges as they get started, or even sometimes there's a lull. We maybe have been speaking or consulting for 10, 20 years. One of the common challenges is remaining visible, as far as being seen as an influencer and an expert and being in front of potential clients. And I know, Anne, one of the reasons that I had wanted to bring you today, besides the fact that we just love you and you're one of us, and thank you so much for being in our sandbox with us often. But I know that there's a specific strategy that would make a big difference for those who are feeling like, how do I just get more visibility? Would you just take the ball and run with it? Tell us more about what is your best strategy?
Well, first of all, I think you need to write because it's a way to be discovered. It gives you credibility, expert status, gets you out there. And when you're out there, more opportunities will come your way. And the written word lasts forever. That's the other thing. So it can be repurposed on a lot of different platforms. There's your words. I mean, we all are fighting against or with GPT, but when you actually write and you can see that it's from your heart, people tend to like you. And as a speaker, you want to be liked by not only the meeting planners, but by your audience and everybody that's going to be listening to you. And we like people that we can relate to. So I think that writing is the first lick there. I got to tell you, Vanessa, there's so many people that have written for us that have turned that piece into a talk. And it gets your thoughts organized. You get your, if you will, the bookshelf where you get your beginning, your middle, and your end. And from my standpoint of dental entrepreneur and dental entrepreneur woman, we're telling stories. And those stories to me are what are going to sell your expertise and your vision, your culture. And that's what people are buying from you. So I like the written word because I like to be able to weave in the stories that will last and give people pause to think.
I love that. And so that's a big part of the why. The why is because it lasts forever, because we can learn to not only what your topic and your focus is, but also we determine, like, do I want to work with this person, or do I want more from this person? Those are really great ideas. Now, so we're talking about writing articles. Of course, this would also extend to writing books, writing our blogs, writing our newsletters, that sort of thing. But if we stay in the arena of writing articles, what is your best advice on how to get started, and like how to find and approach publishers, and how to, you mentioned in there too, one thing I'd love for you, I'm giving you lots of questions here. I'll pause there, because I have another question based on what you just said was, you could reuse the same article, is what I'm hearing you say. So maybe you can address both of those, how to find and approach publishers, but also what's this idea about reusing articles?
Well, I first of all, let's start with finding publishers. So I'm a publisher. What I love, first of all, I love an introduction. So I get a lot of introductions from you, from the people that you've met that want to get out there, want to be known. That's the first thing. If you know somebody that knows the publisher, it's always great to ask for a recommendation. If that doesn't happen, honestly, the best way is to read an article in one of my publications. If you want to write for me and you don't know anybody and you just say, oh, okay, I want to write for Dental Entrepreneur, the future of dentistry. So read an article, write me. My email is in the publication, as are all the publishers. Their contact information is there. And then you just say, hey, I love that article on such and such and such. Love your publication. And here's an idea for you. I speak on this. It's my field of expertise. And I've got 3 topics that I think you might be interested in. And I love having 3 topics because then I can pick one that is actually going to go with either the edition I've got an opening for, or it's going to really fit with the group that I'm speaking to, the audience, because we have 2 different audiences. And so I think that is a really great way to get started. It makes my job easier. I don't have to chase finding somebody with an article. And if you've got a great idea and you know my audience because you've checked it out, that is going to lend itself to me saying, fabulous, here's the word count and the due date, and I can't wait to publish you in my publications. Yeah.
That's such valuable knowledge. You just took away all the like the fear and the concern about should I not reach out to the publisher? That's awesome. Now, could you also talk to us a little bit about writing for online versus print? Like, what's the likelihood nowadays of both?
Well, that's kind of what I was talking about as far as repurposing your article or your print. It can go into our magazine, but just remember, it's also going to go on all our social media platforms. And so not only the whole article, but little snippets will be here and there. You can do a lot with what you've written. I mean, versus when you think about it, and this just came to me, Vanessa, when you're giving a talk, you're one and done on that talk to your audience. But when you're writing something, you actually can write it. You can send it to me. I can give you my feedback. Jamie Marbo, we all know and love. She just wrote 4 iterations of the article that she sent to me for this edition because it meant so much to her. So it's not like I think writing is a lovely way to write it, read it, sit with it, go back and look at it. Then when you actually present it, it's something that you really feel complete about. And you want to do that, especially because they do live on forever. It will go on different platforms. And but I don't see any difference. There's really, to me, no difference than a blog or an article in other than the word count. I mean, a blog is like anything over 300 words. And we've gotten blogs that are 8 pages long. I mean, that's a lot to read, but that's what they wrote, and we're going to publish it. An article is always, we used to be, well, we're still not 1,200 to 1,500 word count, but we like a 1-pager every once in a while, which is like 650 words. And also like for blogs, again, anything over 300. And, we'll do little snippets here and there so that, 300 words here. Another thing that people need to know how to write is their bios, right? I can't tell you how many bios we get that seem like they're longer than the article they submit. And that's something I hope your audience will remember. And I'm sure you're probably going to have something on that. But if you're writing a bio, short, sweet, and fun is what we're looking for now. And not exactly where you went to school and all the credentials and all the things that you've accomplished in your life, because it gets a little boring after a while and people kind of zone out. And, what are you really there to present, and who are you and why should we pay attention?
Oh, 100%. Like all of that detail can be on the website. And it makes me think of like Jasper, which is the AI that I use. If you load in that, 800 word bio and just ask it to rewrite with a tongue-in-cheek tone or empowering or whatever you'd like. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And it really can condense it down to a couple hundred words or less. That's fabulous. Now, when going back to this idea of online versus print, and thank you for great content, the information you just shared with us. An additional question I have about that is, what's the likelihood that some will be printed versus going online? It feels to me like it's much more likely we'll go online versus in print, because I just don't see as many print publications nowadays.
Every print publication nowadays has a digital format as well. So the likelihood is 99% that whatever you're writing for a magazine is going to go online at some point or another.
Well, I guess where I'm going with this too is like, if we were to write for you, like we might start out writing out for your website versus the magazine, right? Like, because I would assume that, and I guess my line of questioning is my assumption that those articles in the magazine are probably pretty precious because the cost with the print versus we can have unlimited articles. And would that be a good expectation for people that anticipate that they might start by writing for web versus print for a publisher?
Oh, yes. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a little more selective when we have to choose 8 or 9 articles for a particular magazine or an issue that's coming out. So I will take blogs all day long from everyone, but when we actually are putting together the content, the table of contents, and everything that's going in the magazine, it's a little bit more special. That's when I get on the phone with you, or on the Zoom, if you will, and we really kind of dive deep into what you want to say. We kind of, brainstorm it, and then hopefully they will get off the Zoom call and put that pen to paper right away, because again, I want you to write like you talk, and just let the pen take over.
Wow, perfect. So a great way to get started would be to submit as many even as you can of these articles, and that gives our publishers a chance to get to know you and your writing style. I've also heard in the past that they will look at the analytics to see how often your online article was read and that sort of thing. Is that still a thing?
Oh yes. Oh yes, it's a thing. So we can tell the trending articles that we've had over the years, and we can it's tracked all the way. So every edition, there are certain articles that people resonate to and read over and over again, or send it and share it and all those kinds of things. Oh yeah, we can track all of that. And
but pardon me, it probably gives us a better chance than if we're having an article that's really trending high, a better chance of being put into print if someone were wanting to get to the print. It's fascinating.
I want to be clear on that though. I don't take an article. I would not take an article that's already online and put it in the magazine. It goes.
No, I don't mean that.
Oh, okay. I just want to.
As far as the popularity of your topic. So like if you were to
Oh,
write
yes.
articles, that's what I'm assuming is all this is my assumption of how it works as somebody who's not a publisher. Oh, one of the things you had said in there, and I've heard you say before, is the write it before you speak it. And I think that is so helpful for our audience here today with speakers and consultants primarily. This idea of, I know for me, every time I'm writing a new speech, I like to write every word out. And I think it's probably about 50-50, but half of us probably do that, right? Every single word, and others like outline, but I like to think it through, and then I can wing it from there. And so I see how there'd be value in this. You are creating a new speech, but you're also creating your marketing. So it's like we're double dipping with our time and getting extra benefit for our business out of it. So that's really powerful. One other question I had for you, what are your thoughts on planting seeds in our articles? So like if we were to write an article, and not in a way that feels icky or like overly marketing, but do you have any thoughts on like giveaways, or inviting people for consults, or planting a seed about the coaching program in which Dr. John did such and such, like to plant a seed that we're also a consultant? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that you have to be very careful about selling in any article. So there's a big difference between planting a seed and selling your services. The way I recommend planting a seed is to share a story. For instance, if you're a consultant, Dr. John's office that I was in, 3 months ago, this is a scenario that happened, and this is what happened, and this is how we solved it. This is the problem, this is how we solved it, or this is where I was, and this is how I got out of it. Those are ways to plant seed, like, oh, if they can turn Dr. John's office around, they can turn my office around, or my friend's office around, or they might be able to help me, find a job or find something. So in other words, you want to have a problem, solve it, and that plants the seed. Just talking about yourself is I'm just all that, the best, I'm a great consultant because I do this, and this, and follow these steps. That to me is not what I'm looking for, because I like the takeaways. I think those are great, but anymore in this day and age, you can Google takeaways all day long. You don't need that. What you need is a story that's going to stick with you, and you'll remember that. and therefore you'll remember the person that solved the problem. And that's how I would plant a seed. I think it's
Oh,
also important to be able to, if you've got a white paper, you've got something, a checklist, you can refer to the checklist. Here's a checklist. Go to my website. It's right here. Could be especially digital. It's beautiful because we can embed the QR code, or we can embed the website so they can click right on it, go straight to your website. So we love doing that for our authors, so that they can find out everything they need. But there is it's a very subtle way, if you will, of planting seeds. And people are smart, and people want to know how much you care about them and not how great you are. And I think that's how greatness is found, is caring for others. And when it comes through authentically, then you've done it right.
Oh, that's so wonderful. You're absolutely right. Thank you. Very good. Now, before we wrap up, is there anything we haven't talked about that would be important to talk about on this topic of developing omnipresence, becoming very visible through the written word?
Well, I think all of us want to be omnipresent. That is how your business will grow. When people are in need of a speaker or an author or someone to hit the stage for them, they're going to look to someone that is well known, or that has been heard of in some arena. And the more you write, the more expert status you have. Everybody knows, for instance, Roger Levine. I mean, he has written and written and written on every, and I'll tell you, he reaches out to me quite often with ideas that he would like to write for me. And I appreciate it, because every time, and this is another thing, another tip. If you want to be published by any of the major dental publications, be on time, make sure that your article is edited, and that it lands on the subject that you decided on.
Yeah.
Those are two things that are really important, because when I have to chase for articles, I don't necessarily go back to that author. It's just like if you're speaking and you're late, or you're grumpy, or you're not likable from the stage, you're probably not going to be asked back. And it's the same way with submitting articles. I mean, just make sure that you're on point with your title. You're not selling yourself. You're providing for the audience. That will get you in a lot of publications. I would suggest reach out to any publication you want to be in, and make an offer to the publisher. And who do I talk to if that's not the one? If it's a different segment in the edition, because some of the bigger publishing houses have quite a few editors on staff. So just keep digging, keep uncovering a layer after a layer of people that you need to get to, and you will be published if your article reads well, is on time, and speaks to the audience that the edition or the website is speaking to.
Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you so much for really slicing and dicing it down for us to make it easier to digest, and to remove some of the, I think probably the, not fear, but the worry, or the just the unknown for those who have not yet started writing articles. And I just want to encourage everyone to reach out to you, Anne. We will have here in chat the copy of your guidelines for your writing for dental entrepreneur and dental entrepreneur women. We will, for those who are watching the recording, we'll have that available for you in Kajabi. And reach out to Anne with your next article idea. And also, I'm going to give a shameless plug, because I believe in it so much, for Dental Entrepreneur Women's Retreat, which by the time this airs will have already happened. And so we'll be looking at 2024, but the place to go for that is do.life. Do.life. And have been a couple of years, and I can't imagine missing it. You always just put together such a special networking opportunity for our female entrepreneurs. And also want to say that's an equally important strategy, right? So we're talking about this omnipresence through the written word, but omnipresence by networking is also a really important way that you're helping our colleagues through both. So thank you so much for that, Anne.
You're welcome. I wanted to say one more thing though, Vanessa. When you're reading an article in a publication, it's so lovely when you reach out to the author because they're just like you. They want to know, did anybody read me? And did it resonate with you? So that's a very kind thing to do. And I think that comes back to you in some way. And then also remember that sharing your words makes you the expert, not the other way around. And everybody has a story that's important. Everybody has something on their heart that they want to say, and all of you that are in this group are teachers and educators. So just know your subject and put that pen to paper.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.